Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 25th of July for the Sun or the Ascendant. As ever, I'm going to give you a broad overview of what to expect, but please stay with me. I will then go through each of the 12 zodiac signs from Aries through to Pisces to give you in much greater detail all the key dates and influences particularly relevant to your sign. Now this week sees the most glorious new moon of the whole year because it's in Leo. Now Leo is governed by the Sun, so this really brings the radiance of the Sun into conjunction with the empathy and the receptiveness of the moon. Now in terms of the moon, Cancer is the most influential new moon of the year, but the Sun really here is asking us to embrace our talents, our flair, our joys, our self-expression, and it also forges near to a perfect 120-degree angle with Jupiter, the planet of growth, in the other fire sign of Aries. It just so happens that Jupiter begins a retrograde on this day, which will last for 4 months, and it is going to be reversing during that period through to the 23rd of October, back into the sign that it traditionally governs of Pisces. But this next month does give us a wonderful opportunity to showcase the things we really enjoy, to meet with the people that give us the most pleasure, and it could, if you're single, also be significant as far as your love life is concerned. Now later this week we do have a once in a 15-year event, so this is very rare, and this sees the North Node reversing in the sign of Taurus, which it entered on the 18th of January this year, meet up with the advancing Uranus. Now it depends on exactly where you are in the world. It could be right at the end, the 31st of July or the 1st of August. But then on the next day, the 1st of August or the 2nd of August, in the early hours in the UK, Uranus then goes on to become exactly side by side with Mars. Now the last time the three were together was in 2007 in the sign of Pisces, and we had the subprime crisis. Now if you would like to know more about Jupiter's retrograde and also this very influential link between Uranus, the North Node and Mars, please see my special videos beneath this one, which you can click through to join me as I explore both topics in much greater detail. But certainly in terms of all that energy at the end of this week, it is in another fixed sign of Taurus. Now Taurus is about foundations. It's about being aware of how we consolidate our early progress, which comes through the sign of Aries. So it can, obviously it's ruled by Venus, so it can have a great appreciation of the good things in life. Now that can be the aesthetics of homegrown vegetables or organics, or it could be something that's much more luxurious. But with Uranus in the mix, Uranus is the planet of truth, but it's also the planet of change, and Taurus is a sign which is most reluctant to really embrace change. It really appreciates continuity. Now in a technical sense, Uranus is in its full in this sign, but also Mars is in its detriment in Taurus. So this is not necessarily a time where we should be too rash with our resources, but with the North Node meeting these two planets, the North Node is almost like the collective outcome of all our behaviour over the last 15 years. And it could be said that's very much to do with consumerism or our connection in a more intimate way with others. And of course Uranus can break free of restrictions as much as highlight to us new innovative approaches. So I think in general, particularly with Venus forging a really lovely link to the trio of influences in Taurus, we're really being asked to be much more mindful of how we use all our core resources. So that could be down to how much water we use. It could be down to if you're in the southern hemisphere, how we manage your heating at this present time. It could be about how we approach food. Are there ways that we can actually recreate our approach to the making and enjoyment of food? So all these things are going to be big topics, but I think it's also possible we are going to see continuing headwinds in terms of interest rates, devaluation of certain stocks. Obviously, digital currencies have really slid in recent weeks, and I think there is going to be the potential for instability. So this glorious new moon in Leo is reminding us that if we can find ways to have fun and be with the people that really count, and that doesn't necessarily have to be through spending money, it can be by being quite ingenious or just having the pleasure of hanging out, enjoying music, telling jokes, visiting places that are fun or stimulating, or being more imaginative in our approach to using our spare time. So an interesting week for sure, but certainly a very powerful one. Now, if you would like to access more serious astrology, if you give me 3 pieces of personal birth data in terms of time, date and place of birth, I can give you a roadmap that can guide you for the rest of your days. And also within my special 30% off package, you can get a 12-month personal forecast. These charts are totally individual to the person they're produced for and can give searing insights, help us to understand some of the negative patterns that have gone on in our lives and grow beyond them, but also seize opportunities by having a better understanding of ourselves. Finally, I've crashed through the 100,000 subs mark. Thank you if you've already subscribed, for all your views too. If you've yet to do so, it would be wonderful to have you with us. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. So Pisces, your week commencing the 25th of July forecast sees your traditional ruler of Jupiter slam on the brakes and go into a 4-month retrograde, which is going to see him return to your sign too. I think what I get from this is that perhaps something you're feeling more speculative about may not necessarily work out exactly as you had first intended, but once Jupiter returns to Aries later this year, you will start to see the rewards for your hard work. Jupiter punishes us if we take things a little bit too much for granted, and maybe you need a little bit more information or time, or to repivot in some way just to get things exactly as you want. Now I feel, despite the headwinds financially that many of us have been dealing with, some fish have had a few strokes of fortune financially with Jupiter's help. And this particular new moon points towards perhaps a new start around your working situation. The 6th house, where the sun is, the sun loves being in Leo, suggests you should be confident about your skills and experiences that you've accumulated over a long period of time. But if you've been in an environment, and Pisces people can be massive givers and then become quite resentful that that's not really appreciated, and almost that sees you go to the other end of the spectrum and withdraw and feel quite cool. But if there is a situation where you feel that respect has evaporated a little bit and you would like to move into a new situation where you can start afresh and with the insights you've gained really move forwards in a more balanced way, I think this new moon gives you a great opportunity to do so over the next month. Now, of course, Venus, the planet of love and affection, which is exalted in your sign, that's in a glorious part of your chart, the 5th house. That's very playful and very sociable and can be very alluring too. So some attention could come to you this week, later in the week particularly, and a surprise text message or email could really set your senses tingling with excitement. But also, of course, the cluster of energy in Taurus is very restless for us all. If you are feeling that you've got an excess of nervous energy, the best way to burn that off is to do more exercise if you can do that. But also you need to feed your mind, which is hungry for new information and for stimulation. And I think Venus forging such a great link with these entities in Taurus gives you a real opportunity, and that could see an unexpected conversation or just an accord or a spark, which really is very exciting as this week draws to a close. What's not to like? Well, it's just that Saturn in retrograde in your 12th house is still lowering your mood and your physical vitality a bit, I feel, and that is in an opposition with Mercury as this week draws to a close. Watch out for a nitpicker, or watch out for any tendency on your part to try to see the downside in situations. Try to stay resolutely positive at this period, Pisces. There's lots of glory to embrace this week, and I'm really being sincere about that. And I feel that the financial situation that Jupiter's retrograde could create will actually create a solution that's much better than where you are at the present time. You just need to keep going through the processes. And the new moon in the 6th house is asking you to be attentive of details, but the Mercury-Saturn opposition is just saying, don't let that attention to detail pulverize your passion or your ability to see the big picture of where opportunities lay.